I'm here interviewing Professor Gonzalez.
Okay.
So, Professor Gonzalez, I guess one of the first things I want to ask you is, what is your full name?
Jorge Enrique Gonzalez.
Does that name have any special cultural meaning or any special meaning while your parents gave it to you?
Well, actually, in Latin America, we use both our parents' last names.
Okay.
So if I were in Latin America, I would probably be called Jorge Gonzalez Sanchez,
Okay.
which is my mother's last name would come after my father's last name, and we may or may not use the middle name. And so I have a middle name, so I use it in the United States, and I don't use my second last name because it would confuse people. They would call me Mr. Sanchez.
Okay.
Like some people say, the famous writer Gabriel Garcia Marquez, they refer to him as Mr. Marquez, which means they don't understand that his last name is Garcia and his mother's last name is Marquez.
Okay. I guess then that would bring me to another question. You said that you wouldn't really use your middle name in Latin America. In Latin America, like the U.S., would you write your initials, and how would you do that there?
The initials would be JGS.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess in America we use our father's last name. Does it matter that the mother's last name is last? Is there any importance or significance because of that?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, it's just traditional.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, my signature, if you could read it, you would see that it has my two last names. But it's illegible, so people don't notice it. They don't know, basically, how signatures get deformed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but actually, it's the original one that I used since I was in college. So.
Okay. That's really cool. I guess then that moves me to my first question. Where exactly were you born?
In Bogota, Colombia.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some of the earliest memories you have of Bogota, Colombia?
Well, it was cold, and I remember I used to go to the American school there. Well, there were a couple of American. Well, there were several, but there's two big ones. And my mother taught at the main one, which was called the New Granada, which was the old name for Colombia when it was a colony of Spain. And she used to teach, I believe it was the second grade, and I did first grade up to first grade. I did kindergarten. I did what they call pre-kindergarten, and but then we moved to the United States, and we lived in Connecticut. But my first memories were, just birthday parties and going to school and playing with friends, and it was cold. I mean, Bogota's cool all the time.
I know, just from my experience, my mom was adopted from Bogota, Colombia, and she always told me about how everything was kind of like a big fortress type of thing and gated community. And she was really, really young, so her memory was a little bit distorted. Do you remember anything like that in Bogota, Colombia?
No. That reminds me more of Mexico City, where a lot of the houses in the fancier neighborhoods had big walls around them. No, I think what's different really from Bogota, I think if you were to visit from outside in the residential areas, would be that there's no yards around, there aren't yards around the houses. The houses are stuck together.
Okay.
So I guess here you would call them townhouses, but some of them are very large, but they're still stuck together. There's no yard in between. They might have a small yard in the front and even a big one in the back, but there's nothing in between the houses.
Okay.
Unless you live out in the country, but other than that, I think the city looks a lot. It's very green we lived in Mexico several years in the mid '80s, and every time we went to Bogota, what would impress us is how green it is. It's cool. The weather's cool, but it's very fertile. How do you call that? A plateau.
Okay.
And it's always green because it rains a lot.
Okay.
So when the weather's nice, it's very nice. You
So
burn a lot.